I have been working for a brokerage firm for the past 2 years. I joined the firm straight out of college after I completed my MBA degree. I joined at an entry-level position and worked my way up to the position of manager. I got my promotion pretty recently, which meant that I was now in charge of overseeing all the new recruits. I was so happy when my boss told me that I was getting promoted. Initially, my boss was debating between me and another colleague. I'll call him Aaron. We both decided to join the company at the same time, and so we had always been in competition with each other. I wasn't surprised that this post had also come down to the two of us, but I knew that meant that I had to beat him to get the promotion. I had spent an entire month working extra hard to show my boss how dedicated I was to the company. My colleague had also been staying late and taking on extra work, so I was very anxious about losing the promotion to him, but thankfully I didn't. Anyway, once I got the promotion, I was shifted out of my cubicle and into my very own office. However, as happy as I was with the promotion, it did come with a lot of new responsibilities. I had essentially become the head of my own department and was now overseeing the people I used to work alongside as well as the new recruits. I knew that it would be an adjustment, but the whole situation was made worse because Aaron was very unhappy that I had been chosen. He kept trying to make my job as hard as possible at every opportunity. At last, I had to sit him down and tell him that if he didn't knock it off, then I would have to report him to my boss. I told him that all he was going to achieve was ruining his image in front of the boss. I reminded him that this wasn't the only opportunity for a promotion, and that if he didn't start behaving professionally, then he would lose out on the next opportunity as well. Thankfully, Aaron hasn't been causing too many problems since then. That's why all of my focus has been on the new recruits. We typically hire in bigger batches so that we can train the recruits in the skills needed for every department of the company. This gives us a better idea of their aptitude so that they can eventually be assigned to the department that suits them the best. It's also easier for the company if the new recruits are trained to handle the work done in all the different departments, since they can also help out in any department that is in need of extra personnel. This meant that I was in charge of overseeing the training of 12 new recruits. 10 out of the 12 recruits have been very good workers who are willing to learn. They've been doing their absolute best, and it's been amazing to see their progress. However, 2 of the new recruits have been very unmotivated and even disrespectful. Initially, I'd given them a grace period, hoping that they would start taking the job seriously once they saw everyone around them doing the same, but that didn't happen. It just seemed like they didn't want to be working at all, and were only showing up to the office out of obligation. I had no choice but to call them into my office and give them a dressing down. I made sure to have one of our HR reps in the room so that everything was above board and the employees didn't feel threatened. I told them that if they didn't start taking the job seriously, then they would not have a future in the company. I told them that if they were fired from our company, it would affect their professional career for a long time since our firm was known to be one of the best in the state. I asked them why they weren't behaving professionally, and they both just apologized and told me that they would do better from now on. I let them off with a warning and thought that would be the end of it. While they did start doing their job better, it only lasted for a week, and then we were back to square one. They started slacking off again, and began being openly and casually disrespectful to me and their colleagues. Last week, I was supposed to be attending a meeting out of the office, but it was postponed, so I had to return to the office unexpectedly. I guess those 2 employees thought it was their opportunity to talk badly about me to the rest of the employees. I was about to enter the break room when I heard one of them say that I was obviously a terrible boss, and that all 12 of them should go to my boss and complain so I could be replaced. Fortunately, the other 10 employees stood up for me and told them that I was a great boss and they didn't want me to be replaced. When they heard that the other 2 employees started talking in German to each other, they were saying that they couldn't believe that I had actually been given a promotion when I was completely unqualified for the job. They said that I had stolen the promotion from a more deserving candidate. They said that I had obviously lied to my boss or manipulated him somehow to make him like me so much. They said that they hated working for me and would have to find a way for me to be removed from my job or even fired from the company entirely. At this point, I had heard enough, so I decided to reveal myself. They didn't seem worried when they saw me coming until I told them to come with me in German. When they realized that I also spoke and understood German, they started looking very worried. The reason I know German is actually because I did an exchange program in Germany. When I was selected for the program by my high school, I started learning German so I wouldn't be handicapped when I was in Germany. I became fluent when I moved to Germany for 3 months. I even gave a certification exam. I had actually contemplated moving to Germany to start my professional career, but when I got offered a position by this company, taking the job was a no-brainer. Anyway, when I told the two employees to follow me in German, they immediately started saying that they had been kidding and that I shouldn't take any of what they said seriously. I chose to just ignore them until we reached my boss's office. They were actually starting to look scared when we entered the office. My boss looked surprised to see us coming to see him. He asked what was going on. I called the HR rep that sat in on the meeting with the two employees to join us so that she could corroborate my version of events. Once she arrived, I told my boss everything that had been going on with the two employees over a couple of months that they had been working at our firm. I told them how they had been behaving and that they didn't take their job seriously at all. I told him how I had hoped that after being reprimanded that they would buck up and be professional, but that didn't happen. The HR rep backed up everything I said. She also told our boss that she had received complaints about the two of them from other new recruits as well, saying that they were disrupting their work and disturbing the professional environment of the area. Finally, I told the boss what I had overheard them saying about me to the new recruits, as well as what they said about me in German. My boss was very upset at their conduct, as it was very unbecoming of someone working for our company. He told them that he was only going to give them one chance to explain themselves, or he would fire them on the spot. One of the two new recruits started crying and saying that it wasn't their fault because they had only been reacting to what Aaron had been saying about me. I was shocked to hear them say that Aaron had been tarnishing my reputation behind my back. I had thought that even though we weren't personal friends, that we both had a level of professional respect for one another. I would never have slandered him behind his back, especially to his subordinates. My boss asked them what exactly Aaron had said about me. They told him that Aaron had told all the new recruits that he was the one who was supposed to be their boss and that he wanted their help to get him put in the rightful position. He said that the people who helped him would be given promotions. The other 10 recruits had told him no, but these two thought that if they got an early promotion, it would be great for their career, so they agreed to help him. They didn't show me any respect because Aaron had told them that I wasn't qualified for the job and had only gotten it because my boss was partial to me. He told them that my family had probably bribed my boss to be given the promotion. When he heard that, my boss called Aaron into his office. He asked if the allegations laid against him were true. At first he denied it, but when the two new recruits said that they had already told us everything, Aaron had no choice but to come clean. He said that he didn't understand why I had been given a promotion over him. He started insulting me and my work, but my boss cut him off and told him that I was an excellent worker and that the firm was lucky to have me. He said that I had deserved the promotion more, and if Aaron hadn't done all this, then very soon he would have had his own promotion as well. My boss told all three of them that he had no choice but to fire them. He told Aaron that he was sad to see an employee of his caliber go, but that there was no place in the company for employees who weren't team players. He also told him that he was very disappointed in how Aaron had handled the whole situation since he had corrupted two naive beginners. My boss told the two new recruits that the company would also be letting them go. They both looked very upset, so my boss told them that he would let them quit and give them letters of recommendation so that they could get new jobs. He also told them that he hoped that this whole episode would make them more mature and force them to start taking their professional lives more seriously. Short backstory. My mother, who I was very close with, passed away suddenly from COVID 3 days before Christmas last year, 2021. I live on the other side of the country, and my brother lives on the other side of the state where our mom lived. So we arrived the next day and stayed at her home, our former childhood home, to try and deal with everything surrounding a sudden death as well as take care of her cats. My father, we'll call him S, has been estranged since I was 12 years old, and I have not spoken to him since then. He was not, and is not, a nice person, so I'm definitely not missing out on anything. My parents never bothered to divorce. Why? I have no idea. On to the petty revenge. A few days after my mom had passed, I woke up around 11 a.m. due to being in a different time zone. My brother is still asleep as he works the night shift. This is relevant, I promised. After my brief morning routine, I noticed a police car in the driveway, and I headed outside to find out what was going on. The officer asked if I lived there. So I explained the above story to him as to why I was there. At this point, I started crying, having to go through everything again. The officer then asked if I knew someone named S, which completely floored me. I told him, yes, I did. He's my father, who I have not spoken with in over 15 years. The officer then tells me that S called the police saying that someone was trespassing on his property and wanted them out. The someone being my brother and I. Apparently, S came to my mom's house early that morning, and no one answered the doors as we were both asleep. He assumed we were ignoring him and called the police. My brother has his number blocked, but he called and left a voicemail saying that he would be back with the police to bust the door down, which we heard later that day. Since my parents never divorced, and my mom's will was almost 30 years old at this point, this meant that the house was legally his now. After the officer explained to me the situation, I see S pull into the driveway. The officer tells me that I did not need to interact with him at all and I could just wait inside while he spoke with him. S ended up giving us until the end of the day to leave the premises. So my brother and I, along with a couple family members that lived nearby, helped us collect some of our childhood possessions in photo albums and left. I flew home the next day. When S arrived the next day, I know he was there. He texted me asking where my mom kept her cash. It was a disaster. My mom had 2 elderly cats that had issues with finding the litter box at times, so there was cat pee and poop scattered through the house that we didn't bother to clean up. There was decomposing food in the kitchen. A couch was overturned in the living room. We had to flip it to catch one of the cats. The trash had not been taken out. There were dirty dishes in the sink. On top of that, he had now a house with over 30 years of accumulated belongings that he had to clean up and empty by himself. My brother and I had planned on cleaning as well as we could, as well as start the process of preparing the house to sell, but thanks to S calling the police on us, that was now all his problem. He ended up sending my brother a letter through a different family member complaining about how messy we left the house and how much money he had to spend to empty the property. It's shocking how actions have consequences. The setup here is pretty simple. Some woman named Bella gave a dental office my phone number, which resulted in me getting hundreds of voicemails and text messages about her dental treatment. I assume she was British or something. Multiple calls to my dental office didn't seem to help the problem. I was told they would fix it at least a dozen times, but they never did. At the time, the call/text blocker on my phone wouldn't work right, and I didn't want to buy a new phone just to stop getting their texts and calls. One day in particular, after ignoring 4 calls before 8 a.m. from the clinic, I finally reached my breaking point. So, when the 5th call came in, I answered. Dentist. Hi, is this Bella? Me. No, this is Bella's husband. Bella is currently unavailable. What can I do for you? Dentist. I'm just calling to confirm her dentist appointment for X date. Me. Oh, he can't make it. He's scheduled for a gender reassignment surgery that day. Dentist. I see. Would you like to reschedule? Me. We'll call you once we figure out Bella's availability. The following year-ish was much of the same. Them calling or texting me to confirm appointments and me giving increasingly outrageous medical reasons for canceling. You'd figure the 4th gender reassignment surgery, 2nd brain transplant, or the 3rd circumcision might have given them a hint, but the calls and texts only seemed to grow more frequent, much to my joy. They did eventually figure it out and called me to chew me out. Dentist. Hi, is Bella available? No, this is her husband speaking. What can I do for you? Dentist. I know you're not her husband. Who are you? Me. How do you know I'm not Bella's husband? Dentist. Bella says she isn't married. Who are you? Me. You called me. Who do you think I am? Dentist. Why have you been canceling Bella's appointments? Me. Why have you been calling me about Bella's appointments? Dentist. This is Bella's phone number. Me. You just called that number, right? Dentist. Yes. Me. Did Bella answer? Dentist. No. Me. So, is this Bella's number? Dentist. But why have you been canceling her appointments? Me. I figured I was doing her a favor. Dentist. How so? Me. You've been calling me for over 2 years now, despite my repeated and numerous requests that you stop. I figured that if you were so unprofessional that you can't even fix a single phone number in your system, she's probably better off with a different dentist. Dentist, you think this is funny? Me. Honestly, at first it was irritating, but now it's the highlight of my day. Dentist, you've been screwing with somebody's health. You know that, right? That's illegal. Me. You may want to stick to receptionist work. You make a bad lawyer. Dentist. What do you know about the law? Me. Enough to know that the medical information that you've been sending me about your client is a clear violation of HIPAA. Dentist. Oh. Me. So, yeah. Sorry. Bella can't make it to her dentist appointment next week. She's getting plastic surgery to have her fingers webbed. Funny enough, the call stopped after that.